it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, July 16th. So we have the moon moving out of Aquarian energy and moving into Piscean energy. So the moon will be void, of course, from just after midnight to about 4:20 a.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. Anytime that the moon is void, we're very uncertain, very shaky, very unstable. We don't want to make any decisions. We don't want to commit to anything. Our mental plane is not clear. Our emotions aren't clear. It's just a very rocky time. To make matters even more intense, the moon moving into Pisces is always a very, very deep dive in our emotions, in our healing, in our transformation, and it can become very overwhelming because we are over emotional, we are hypersensitive, we have a lot of wish-washy thoughts and feelings coming up. Pisces energy is the last energy of the zodiac where we do bring things to an end, we do bring things to a closing point so that we can begin again. So we have 15 different aspects taking place here today, creating quite a buzz, quite a stir in the cosmos. This is number 11 day with the moon. There are 11 different aspects of the 15 that involve the moon. And this is also the last day that Venus will be in Gemini. So as we know, anytime that a planet is preparing to move out of one energy and into another, we hit those final crisis degrees. This always adds pressure. It's always an intense energy. It's almost like we are feeling the urgency to wrap up this particular life lesson. If you need a reminder on what Venus's time in Gemini was all about, go ahead, listen to that astro forecast, get a little bit of a refresher on that. But basically, it was a mental plane game, trying to figure out what we find to be of worth and value. We are opening ourselves up to new relationships, new connections, new ways of making money, new ways of feeling intellectually connected to the people around us. And of course, the Gemini energy always presents us with two very polarized, dualistic, extreme points of view, extreme decisions, choice points, paths, opportunities. And Venus, being the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure, has had a lot of thinking time on what it is that she wants to do from here. Of course, we are in an experimental phase that got ushered in with the solstice energy. It will be with us until the Lionsgate portal, when we either level up, jump a timeline, or are content to stick with the timeline in which we're currently living. Nonetheless, 15 different aspects, super freaking busy day. So while the moon is still in Aquarius energy, before going void, of course, we have the moon interacting with Pluto, the god of the underworld. Now, if you listen to yesterday's energy forecast, you would know that we met a little bit of a funk there later in the day. We did try to turn it around before bedtime, being motivated and inspired to use, those not so nice thoughts and feelings in order to fuel us, making a change and pushing us to be better and pushing us into a new level of growth. The moon interacting with Pluto in this way would suggest that we are having to do a deep dive in our psyche in order to really analyze the comings and goings that we've been experiencing, especially since the full moon in Capricorn. Now, Pluto is the great transformer, but he does so through the darkness, through the shadow work of pain, of trauma, of suffering. Because the moon is in Aquarius energy, we're emotionally detached so that we can act as the observer and see everything that's going on in our psyche, in our heart space, in our physical realm from all sides, really a bird's eye view. And the moon interacting with Pluto in this way does kind of suggest that we have to sit in the darkness, we have to sit in the funk, we have to be, frustrated and insecure and jealous and overwhelmed and all of these not so nice things in order for us to have a breakthrough, in order for us to analyze these particularly primal, I'm going to say shadow aspects of ourselves, to see where they stem from, where we can get a grip over them, where we feel powerless, where we feel like we're lacking control. And from that, create a grid work, a framework on where it is that we can boss up and kind of override some of these thoughts and feelings and memories. Now, the moon is going to trine positive energy, great energy with Venus, again, in her final degrees of Gemini, before going void, of course. So this is the last kind of aspect that the moon is going to make in a direct, stable energy. Now, this is good because this provides us with a little bit of clarity. Why? Well, the moon is in Aquarius, air energy. Venus is in Gemini, in air energy. And the choices that we've been kind of debating between of what it is that we want, who it is we want to do that with, what brings us happiness and joy, where we need to create stability in our lives. Now we're having some aha moments. We are now piecing things together. We know the path to improvement. We know the path of growth. And this is really providing us with a little bit of a checklist on what it is that we absolutely want, need, and desire for ourselves, especially when it comes to our emotional connections. Now, the moon is going to go void, of course. And while the moon is void, so again, very shaky, very unstable, we are going to bump into both Mercury and the sun. Now, Mercury and the sun are going to conjunct later on today, which is a big deal. We'll talk about that here in a second. But this particular energy, where the moon is void, of course, where we're moving out of this Aquarian energy, proceeding into this Piscean energy, the moon and Mercury is our heart and our head. And something tells me that now we're on the same page, especially where our home and family life is concerned, our domestic relationships are concerned, where boundaries are concerned, where emotionally healing our inner child is concerned. Mercury is in Cancer energy. So we have all these nostalgic, romanticized memories popping up for us and family drama popping up for us so that we can heal some of the generational wounds that, of course, are now coming very, very apparent. The moon bumping into the sun is a beautiful aspect for us because it's showing us where it is that we need to move away from certain patterns, behaviors, interactions, so to speak, and what it is that we need to move closer to in order to provide ourselves with that safety, that security, that stability that we want, that we need, that we desire in our home life, in our personal relationships, to create a little bit more of a stable foundation for us emotionally. Now, the moon locks into Piscean energy, again, about 4:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The very first aspect that the moon in Pisces is going to make is a semi-square to Chiron. Not the most pleasant interaction. Why? Semi-square is a tension point. It creates a lot of uncomfortability in our emotions. Chiron is the wounded healer. Suddenly, because of this Piscean energy, needing to do the deep dive into our soul, into our, I'm going to say, dreams, our creativity, our intuition, we are feeling this overwhelming sense of pain, of heaviness. Why? Well, because Chiron is the wounded healer. We have to feel what it is that we have to heal, but you have to sit in the funk first before we know how to address it and how to fix it. Now, again, the moon in Pisces, very deep, very, very emotional, very intuitive, really wanting to numb, really wanting to escape these not so nice thoughts and feelings and memories and everything coming up, but we can't. We have to understand that we have to stay present in the moment. We have some work to do to wrap up these particular, I'm going to say, aspects, topics, and themes before we can actually move forward and move on. Now, the sun and Mercury both bump into Saturn, the Lord of Karma, in not such a nice way. Now, here's what I will say about this. This is going to add to the emotional sensitivity that we're already experiencing because of the moon being in Pisces and, of course, semi-squaring Chiron. Now, this is going to make us extra sensitive to how it is that our ideas, our truth, whatever it is that we're trying to communicate and express outwardly, how that's actually received by other people. May I remind you, how people receive your truth is none of your business. The important part is that you get it out. Now, this particular energy is likely going to put the pressure on our mental plane. This is going to spike anxiety. It's going to interfere with us making logical and practical decisions. It's going to create emotional chaos. We are going to have communication challenges, total mental blocks, if you will, and we just aren't going to be able to enjoy ourselves because Saturn, who rules over tough love life lessons, roles and responsibilities, we're very focused on the pressure that we're feeling to get our shit together, to have a plan, to, have new goals, to follow our ambition. And right now we're just not in the mood. And we have so many doubts and so many insecurities coming in right now that it's going to slow us down. It's going to slow down our progress, our improvement, our desire to even want to do better. It's going to be a little bit of a bumpy time. Now, let me just say the overwhelming intensity for us to push forward, for us to move forward, for us to make a move, for us to continuously keep doing something needs to kind of take a back seat. We need to slow down. We're going to create a mess for ourselves if we push forward with this kind of energy. We are going to need to adjust our focus, adjust our attention, adjust our plans, because we are getting a huge reality check at this particular moment in time. That's why we're feeling cray-cray. That's why we're feeling all over the place. That's why we're feeling the weight of the world on our shoulders. So Venus goes ahead and bumps into Chiron in a positive way. This suggests that we are out of this funk, out of this chaos, out of this little, communication breakdown. We are starting to realize what it is we don't want. Okay. Realizing what you don't want is half of the battle, because from that, you can create a framework on what it is that you do want. Now, Venus being the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and money, Chiron being the wounded healer, them interacting in a positive way would suggest that we are healing some of the wounds that we just identified, sitting in this anxiety, sitting in this funk. That is a good thing. The moon will bump into Uranus shortly after, just moments after. This is going to be a healing energy for us to see things from a different perspective, to have an aha moment, to make a light bulb go off in our brains, to see where it is that we can be better, where we can improve, where a big vision, a big dream is now inspiring us to override the not so nice thoughts and feelings, where we can align to our intuition and follow our gut, know what is in our soul, and let that lead. So this is where Mercury conjuncts, sits next to, meets up with, bumps into the sun. And of course, both of these guys are in Cancer energy. So anytime the sun is bumping into a planet in a direct fashion, this is almost an initiator for a brand new cycle. And this brand new cycle is opening us up to a beautiful opportunity to see clarity, to see where our goals are, see what it is that we need to do in our personal lives, in our home life, in our personal relationships. This is a new initiation, a new cycle where we are definitely opening our minds up to aha moments, to having an epiphany, to seeing a light being shone on a matter that we couldn't have understood or didn't really care to even look at. This is like a clean slate. We're going to feel that mental anxiety, that mental pressure earlier of the day, just lighten up and just clear out. This is where we become a little bit more sharp again, especially in our intuition, blending that with the logical, practical mindset of our egoic self. This is where communication comes back first in our inner realm, our inner narrative, our inner dialogue. Our heart and our head is getting back on the same page. And this is opening us up to being able to say what we need to say, speak our truth. This is putting into words and articulating a lot of the things that have been bouncing around inside of us. Now, keep in mind, this could be spoken in a way that could be better and create a lot of healing and a lot of growth and a lot of improvement, or it could come out and create an absolute shit show. Now, just be aware that if your truth is coming out and creating a shit show, whoever is not accepting your truth isn't meant to be in your realm. Okay. So a lot of people say, oh, I guess I shouldn't have said that. I guess I should have kept that to myself. No. That is doing yourself a disservice. You have to speak your truth. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to communicate your thoughts and your feelings with confidence and with clarity. If it is not well received, that is not your business. It is a huge indicator to you, though, where it is that you have to stop pouring into certain relationships, into certain people, understand where you stand in their lives, and pull all the way back if you are not getting the love, encouragement, support, and respect that you 100% deserve when communicating and expressing yourself fully. So, this particular energy is creating a brand new cycle for us in our mental plane to get our, let's say, vision and focus, attention honed into the right path. And this particular cycle, especially where they're bumping in together in this Cancer energy, it's very emotional, very intuitive, very healing, very connected to the home and the family, also very connected to boundaries. When we speak our truth and it's not well received, and we see where it is that we stand in other people's lives, that also puts us in a position to create better boundaries for us and that individual. Now, the moon is going to sextile Mars. This is a beautiful energy. We love this because it means that we are in touch with our higher self. We are in touch with our emotions. We are wanting to heal certain topics and themes. And Mars, the god of war, ruling over our energy, our passion, our desires, and even our anger, is in Taurus energy, wanting to build brand new foundations based off of the worth and value that we now see within ourselves. And with the earlier aspect of us, speaking our truth and communicating confidently and clarity, and may not be as well received as we had hoped, this is definitely going to light the fire under our ass to do what we got to do to build a brand new solid foundation in our lives, to either create a wall that will keep us safely away from the people that do not support us or even respect us in a lot of instances, or where it is, if we are well received, where it is that we can push forward, make more of a connection, grow with that person, improve with that person, and plan for a future vision of creating something new, stability-wise, with the individuals that are on the same page and are showing the right kind of respect, let's say, of you doing what is right for you. The moon will be bumping into the true node in a positive way, which suggests that we are gaining huge amounts of clarity. We recognize the moves that we have to make. We know the path that we are looking to travel, and that this is, I'm going to say, very strong in our intuition. May not make sense, but it feels good. It feels right. Don't let the logical, practical, egoic part of your mental plane talk you out of something that you know to feel good and true in your heart and soul. The moon will be bumping into Jupiter, though, in a way that would suggest that something popping off in our external realms is a little bit too much. This could be drama. This could be a little bit of a flare coming up from a home situation, from a family dynamic, from a personal relationship of some sort. The reason why I say that is because we're still in Cancer season. And the moon in Pisces needs us to feel what it is that we have to heal. Jupiter is about growth and expansion and blessings and abundance and beliefs. And he is in Aries energy, wanting to start something new, wanting to move forward, wanting to improve, wanting to be better. But this particular interaction could turn the volume all the way up on maybe the truth that we spoke earlier. The person who we spoke it to wants more of us, or we want more of them. And when you want more of something, it leaves you in a situation to realize what it is that you don't currently have, and that can feel a little bit dirty. Now, the moon is going to wrap up the day bumping into both the sun and Mercury yet again in a different interaction altogether. And what we can kind of vibe from this is that the strength that we got earlier from Mercury and the sun moving in parallel with one another, creating this new chapter, creating this mental clarity, creating this empowerment to speak one's truth and communicate. Now we're questioning it. Again, like I said, every single time we take 2 steps forward, that dark force agenda wants us to take 4 steps back. And just when we have a moment of empowerment, then we tend to step back and question, analyze whether it is that we actually should have done that or not. So this is going to create a lot of insecurities, a lot of doubts. Again, the moon is in Pisces, so we're feeling everything triple, if you will, overwhelmingly oversensitive. We just don't even want to think or feel about it anymore. We just want to go to bed and live in la la land. And then the moon interacting with Mercury in this way is just adding a little bit of mental confusion, which isn't going to feel good, especially seeing how we had this beautiful chunk of time earlier today where everything seemed to make perfect sense. Everything seemed to be crystal clear. And now we're starting to second guess ourselves. We're starting to allow our ego to speak fear and doubts into our soul plans. And this is a great example of really letting our ego pull us back into the realm of fear and doubts and insecurities.